A busy day in Washington. Late Tuesday afternoon, a bipartisan group of senators announced a deal on new gun legislation. They'd been negotiating language for a bill after laying out the framework more than a week ago. On the other end of Capitol Hill, the committee investigating the January 6th attack returned Tuesday. This time, their focus was then-President Trump's efforts to pressure state election officials to overturn the 2020 presidential election. Several witnesses detailed the threats they faced from Trump supporters. In opening remarks, committee chair Benny Thompson accused the former president of, quote, pressuring public servants to betray their oaths. Nikole Killion is on Capitol Hill with more on what we heard.
This is a tragic parody.
That's how Arizona House Speaker Rusty Bowers described efforts by former President Trump and his allies to pressure him to overturn the 2020 election, which he ultimately resisted.
You are asking me to do something against my oath, and I will not break my oath.
Bowers, a lifelong Republican who voted for Trump, described at least 2 phone calls from the former president and his attorney, Rudy Giuliani, asking him to review fraudulent claims of undocumented immigrants and dead people voting.
Do you have names? Yes. Will you give them to me? Yes. The president interrupted and said, give the man what he needs.
Did you ever receive from him that evidence?
Never.
He then faced additional pressure, suggesting he set up a special session to try to decertify the state's electors.
When you learned that these electors had met and sent their electoral votes to Washington, what did you think?
I thought of the book, The Gang That Couldn't Shoot Straight.
Even some of Trump's own campaign team refused to go along.
I don't think this is appropriate.
And some White House officials admitted the scheme was illegal.
Did you hear the White House counsel's office say that this plan to have alternate electors meet and cast votes for Donald Trump in states that he had lost was not legally sound?
Yes, sir.
The committee also questioned Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger after his highly publicized call with the former president.
I just want to find 11,780 votes.
What I knew is that we didn't have any votes to find.
Raffensperger and his deputies said they also found no proof of some other bogus claims like suitcases stuffed with ballots, which the former attorney general also knocked down.
I told him that the stuff that his people were shoveling out to the public were
Former election worker Wandrea Moss said she and her mother face death threats and intimidation after the former president and his lawyer accused them of counting ballots multiple times.
Haven't been anywhere at all. I've gained about 60 pounds. I second guess everything that I do, all because of lies.
Do you know how it feels to have the President of the United States to target you? The President of the United States is supposed to represent every American.
Nikole Killion joins me now, along with CBS News' Scott MacFarlane and Robert Costa. Nikole, I want to start with you and where your piece started. Rusty Bowers, he at one point went to a journal entry that he wrote during this difficult period, and he wrote to himself, I do not want to be a winner by cheating. How powerful was his testimony today?
Well, it was quite powerful and quite significant, considering that this is somebody who's a lifelong Republican who supported the former president. And, but he said that his faith really wouldn't allow him to even conceptualize or go forward with the former president's wishes, which is why you heard him say, I am not going to violate my oath in any way. And he also talked about how this has impacted him on a personal level, as we heard really from all the witnesses today, in terms of getting threats and people protesting outside of his home, even at one point calling him a pedophile. And again, some of these protests occurred as his daughter was battling a terminal illness.
Bob, I want to talk to you about the other theme of the day. One was pressure on these state officials, and the other was the effort to come up with a slate of electors. Can you talk about that a little bit and what we learned today about this gambit?
Gambit's the word, John. You nailed it. Because what happened here is the Trump campaign fails in the courts. They can't win any type of litigation to try to stave off the certification of Joe Biden's election in any way. They then effectively lose in the Electoral College. The Electoral College goes about its constitutional business, and it moves toward the congressional certification on January 6, 2021. And in that period between mid-December and early January, Rudy Giuliani and then President Trump, along with many others, said to themselves, well, what else can we do? And John Eastman, a conservative lawyer who was working with them, said, well, if there are alternate electors, maybe Congress could consider them. But the Electoral College had already moved forward. So the idea came, well, maybe organically electors could appear on the scene and be recognized by Congress. And this is what the committee detailed in testimony today, the so-called fake electors, unofficial groups of people calling themselves electors that wanted to be recognized by Congress on January 6, 2021. And it seems so far-fetched and complicated and roundabout, but it happened. It was put into motion. It was a plan that was almost executed.
That's right. And we even learned today that Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin was somehow involved, according to testimony, in carrying this kind of printed-at-home certification effort to try to get it into the system, and it failed. Scott, I want to ask you about everybody when they were testifying today. I was with these stories of violence. I was thinking they are endangering themselves by just testifying here today. Give me a little bit of your sense on violence and to both those who testified and lawmakers who are on the other side of the questioning.
Yeah, John, we're seeing this pattern now, right, from the January 6th committee. As they alleged last Thursday with Mike Pence, what begins as a pressure campaign and scrutiny and election lies ends with violent threats against the subject of the pressure campaign. Last week, it was explaining how Mike Pence was under the thumb of the Trump inner circle in the days before January 6th, then was running for his life on January 6th. Today, it's Brad Raffensperger, Gabriel Sterling, Rusty Bowers, and Shay Moss, the Fulton County election worker, all of whom describe standing up to these misguided election fraud claims, these baseless election fraud claims, and then facing death threats, misogynistic threats, racist threats, ongoing threats because of it. This is a pattern the January 6th committee has formed, and they're really leaning into this. They've already said in so many words, John, they believe Donald Trump was part of a conspiracy to defraud the United States. They are now saying unequivocally that Donald Trump gave rise to potential violent threats against people who stood in his way.
Nikole, powerful testimony from Shay Moss, as Scott mentioned her name, when she talked about what this had done to her life.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she talked about gaining weight. She talked about, second guessing herself and really just being upset about kind of losing the joy that she had in her job. You know, you think about election workers and, people do these jobs because they believe in the integrity of our electoral system. And, she talked about her mother also working at the same time, and, that the joy that she took in her job was helping elderly people and, just helping answer basic questions about voting and elections. And she said kind of all of that had been taken away from her because of these accusations and falsehoods that were purported by not only the former president, but also by his attorney, Rudy Giuliani, suggesting that she and her mother were, conducting some kind of scam with regards to these ballots, which she said were all lies, lies which were also disproven, by the way, by the Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, and even by Justice Department officials like the former Attorney General William Barr, who, said that a lot of these falsehoods coming out of Fulton County, that there was nothing to them. So that being said, she just said that this has really kind of affected her life in so many different ways. And she was concerned that it's a scenario where she may never kind of be able to reclaim and get her life back.
It's extraordinary when the power of the presidency comes down on one person's shoulders. Bob, what's next for the committee?
The committee later this week on Thursday afternoon will hold its next hearing. This hearing will be focused on the pressure campaign by Trump against his Justice Department officials. John, you're such a student of history, a historian yourself with all of your work on the presidency, I can't help but think of the Saturday Night Massacre, the infamous moment with Richard Nixon during the Watergate era when he leaned on his own Justice Department as he was facing a major scandal. Trump, under siege in his presidency, tried to get the Justice Department to follow up on what he wanted to do in terms of moving toward having the DOJ find evidence of fraud, even though it didn't exist. And this was in this crucial period after Attorney General Barr resigns, leaving an acting Justice Department official at the top as the acting AG. And Trump saw, based on my own reporting, an opening, a vacuum for him to come in and shape the Justice Department, manipulate the Justice Department in his own way.
And they all threatened to resign if he wanted to do it. An incredibly dramatic moment in the Oval Office. Scott, I want to end with you and switch gears here for a moment because while we have a highly partisan effort going on in this discussion over January 6th, there has been some bipartisan movement on gun reform. Can you give us a sense of where things stand right now?
Yeah, as the evening began, we got to read it in black and white, an actual gun reform proposal, the first one in a generation. And what stands out is this has something all the other proposals before it have lacked. It has a trajectory towards that elusive but necessary 60 votes in the U.S. Senate. There have been 10 Republicans who've been part of the discussions. And this evening, Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell blessed this framework for a bill and this early bill text. 3 key provisions here. Expanding background checks for some people between 18 and 21 before they buy firearms. Supporting states to get red flag laws passed. Those are the laws through which courts can order guns seized from people officially deemed dangerous. And closing the boyfriend loophole, which would block some of those convicted of domestic violence from possessing guns, even if they don't live with the victim any longer. There are provisions in the bill for expanding mental health care for kids and school security. Those are priorities for Republicans. We could have votes soon. Votes on gun reform. Some people didn't think it was possible, but it seems to be in the works in the next few days.
And with that blessing from Mitch McConnell, much more possible than when it's just a theory being discussed behind closed doors. Nikole Killion, Scott MacFarlane, and Robert Costa, thanks to all of you.